Next step is going to be to write some tests. Now, the tests are what's going to be run initially against our solution, but eventually this is what's going to run against the person training. It's going to run against their function. There's a lot of different test methods available to us. If you're familiar with other testing frameworks like Jasmine and Mocha, this isn't going to seem too foreign to you. I'm not going to go into too much detail about all the different tests that you can run. I'm just going to talk about the ones that apply to this problem. There's good documentation on Code Wars, and also this resource called the Conjured Code Wars Codex that has some really detailed descriptions about different tests that you might want to write. For the purposes of this example, I'm mostly going to talk about test assert equals and writing basic tests. Should be what you need to get up and running. So you can also hit this here, which will insert an example, but I don't want to do that because that's going to bulldoze over what I've written here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start writing my own tests. So one of the methods we have available to us on the test object is assert equals. And the way this works is the first argument passed in is going to be the actual value. So we're going to call the function that we're trying to test. And then the second argument is what we expect it to return. I'm going to copy and paste that value in. I happen to know what it is. And let's make this a little bigger so we can see what we're doing. So we're calling test assert equals with the first argument being the function that we're testing, passing in our arguments, preloaded. This is coming from the preloaded tab that I talked about before. I've just plopped a variable in there, our integer zone value, and what we expect to get back. And we can try it out. And it's passing. So that's good. This isn't very descriptive though, so we want to add some custom messages that makes it easier for the user to understand what's going on. And I'm actually going to expand this by using what's called a describe block. And I'm going to group a number of tests within that describe block. So I'm going to get rid of this just for now and copy and paste in what I've written because I don't want to take all the time to rewrite it. Okay, so the test that I just wrote is exactly what we're seeing here, but instead of writing out the function in test assert equals, I've called the function up here, and then this is just, I have a variable set equal to the string value that I expect to get back. So this right here is exactly the same as what you just saw, except that this test assert equals, I'm wrapping it in an it block. And an it block is for each specific test. And within the it block, the first argument is going to be the string that describes the test, and the user is going to see that when they run their tests against their function. So it takes the string description, it takes a callback function, and then the test that you want to run. And I also want to mention I'm using test assert equals here. Another good method is, or not good, but another useful method is test assert similar, which I actually forgot about when I started doing this kata. I think it's a little late to go back and change it now. But basically, if you're having your user return an array or an object, test assert equals is not going to work to test if that is deeply equal to what you expect. So for anytime you want to test an array or an object, you're going to want to use test assert similar. And let's give these a try. Let's see what happens. Cool. And as you can see, all the tests that we've grouped within our describe block, basic tests, are nicely grouped underneath the headline, and these explainer messages that we've written within the it blocks are displayed here on the screen. And we can see that we passed the test and how long it took. So that's the very basic test. Now we're going to write some random tests.